There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's recorded. It's recorded.
You'll forget about it.
Come in.
Hi.
You must be Sophie.
I am.
I'm Arthur.
Nice
Good
to
to
meet
see
you.
you. Do you want a glass of water or a herbal tea or something?
I'd love a herbal tea.
Yeah.
Do you have good milk?
Yeah, hold on. There you go.
Thank you.
Biscuits if you want some as well. Feel free to take one. So, just to start off, I'm Arthur. I've been a social worker for 2 years. I'm new here at Community Health Services. Yeah, there's just a bit of stuff to go through before we even get started with this. So, with confidentiality, this is a completely confidential space. No one will really be hearing about this or anything. I may have to talk to supervisors occasionally just to get advice on like what to do next and stuff, but again, that will be in confidence completely. Cool. So what brings you in today, Sophie?
I've been referred to you through my GP.
Okay.
I visited her last week. Just had a lot going on in my life. I have a history of mental health, which has usually been quite well managed, but in the last 6 months my grandmother has passed away, and one of my friends was sexually assaulted around the same time, and she has bipolar and not a lot of friends, and I feel like I've really been shouldering the burden for keeping her going. Yeah, I found her overdosed a few weeks ago, and so I'm just finding that I don't have a lot of support myself, and also with my grandma passing away, I feel like it's really taking a hit to my mental health, and I do have quite a busy life. Like, I'm working full-time as a marketing manager, and I'm also doing a postgrad diploma part-time, so I feel like I don't really have a lot of time, and I'm kind of struggling to keep everything together at the moment.
Yeah, I can see how that would be really quite tough. Like, you've done really well to manage this far through. What kind of things do you do to sort of like cope? What are your coping mechanisms? You just mentioned.
Previously, I've sort of always maintained my mental health with, occasionally I've had medication.
Yeah.
I'm not on any medication at the moment, but usually just through social interaction and exercise and eating well and looking after myself, but just with the onset of all of these other circumstances, I'm finding that I'm not really able to do those things well, and I'm struggling a bit financially due to not doing as many work hours. I'm just not really coping with my schedule, and I'm falling behind in my study, and I find that really tough.
So has your work been quite good about this? Like, have they been supportive?
They know, my boss and my manager know. They're supporting me as best as they can, but they still have a business to run at the end of the day. I've got reduced hours, which is awesome for, giving me the space to cope, but it's getting quite tough financially. I'm kind of chewing through my savings kind of thing, and I'm also spending a lot of my hours looking after my friend who's not functioning very well at the moment.
Yeah. And so you're saying that this friend is actually a flatmate as well?
Yeah, so we live together. I've since moved out of her flat and I'm living somewhere else, but I'm constantly around at her house, trying to make sure she's eating and doing those kinds of things. She's not very good at making it to her appointments for her own support, so I kind of feel like I've been not necessarily responsible, but she had a really terrible childhood and doesn't have a good relationship with her parents and doesn't have siblings, and because of the way her mental health is, she doesn't keep friends around, and so I kind of feel like if I leave her, then she's going to have nobody.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a lot for her, which is really, really commendable actually. But just a question, do you have anyone that's helping you or supporting you through this?
Like obviously my workplace knows.
Yeah.
I have recently been through quite a toxic breakup prior to all of this happening, and so I lost a lot of friends through that.
Okay.
So I don't really have, I've got friends, but I would call them more fair weather friends. I don't really feel like they are that, none of them really know how to help me or support me as such. My mum's really good. I talk to my mum quite often. She doesn't really understand mental health, but she's still supportive, but she does live, in Australia, so it's quite hard for me to, I can't just go and visit on a whim,
Well, it sounds like you've got a lot going on at the moment. Yeah. So you said that you used to be on medication. What was that for? Was that for anxiety or depression?
I have anxiety and depression, so
Okay.
it was kind of it didn't obviously fix the problem, it just kind of alleviated it a bit. Obviously I've talked to my GP about it and we are discussing potentially going back on it, but she thought that perhaps I could come see you, maybe just having somebody confidential to talk to about all of this might be a good step in helping me process the grief and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, talking definitely does help. Like, it's quite hard if you have to bottle it up, especially when you're trying to be sort of a support person when you're not feeling very supported yourself.
Yeah, I
or
just
in a good
constantly
state.
feel like I'm having to put on a good face and keep it together for everyone, but I don't have the time and space to really look after myself.
Awesome. I'm really glad that you've come in today because we'll be able to help you. There's definitely something we can do for you. We just got to kind of find that out through consultations like this. So it's really awesome. You were saying how you used to exercise and kind of you had some things you did that kind of helped out things. Like, what were those sort of things?
Well, I guess like I used to go to the gym. I used to go to the gym 4 times a week and go to a class. So I kind of met people through that. And that was, exercise is not necessarily always enjoyable, but it does make you feel better after. I just don't find that I have the time or the energy to go at the moment. Like I say, all of my hours outside of work are spent with this friend of mine. Which, generally would probably be okay, but I think just like I was really close to my grandma that passed away, and I find not having her around is quite upsetting. And my friend, she's hard work. Like, I don't like to say negative things about her, but she is really difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it sounds like you haven't really had time to deal with the grief, or sort of taking time for yourself at the moment. And I feel like maybe, through a little bit of like self-care and stuff, you might be able to get back to yourself a little bit more. So well, I definitely think that you should keep seeing me. We can book in another appointment next week. Because sometimes it's really good to have someone to vent to, and also we can probably just help you put in place some things to make it better for you in your life, rather than having to worry about everyone else as you do. But we can have a look at some things that we can do to help with your mental health, and it doesn't have to be medication. It could just be maybe getting back into a routine of like things that make you happy. But so I'll go ahead and book you in for next week. And cool. It was really nice meeting you today, Sophie. And I hope that I've been of some help, maybe even just to start with this journey. Yeah, awesome. No, because we're doing the discussion now. Yeah. How did you find that?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. fine.
How did you think I went? I was really nervous. I hope I did it quite well.
Little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You weren't very sure where to go with your questions.
Yeah, I was trying to.
But you had good questions.
I was trying to reflect back on stuff that you'd told me,
Yeah.
but it's quite hard to actually. Like, I reckon next time if I ever did this again, I'd actually write some stuff down like properly.
Yeah.
To actually be able to reflect properly on stuff, because I kind of like would remember stuff and be like, oh, I should talk about that, or I should investigate that a little bit more.
You kind of see the cogs turning.
Yeah. It is quite a stressful thing to do, but yeah.
I feel like you did pretty well though, actually. Like you provided a space for me to talk, which was I guess the whole point. You made me feel welcome with, tea and biscuits, and it was a nice space to be in.
Yeah, it is quite a nice space. It actually looks like an office.
Big green hole in the background.
Yeah, I think it was fine. Like I would say, it's not that any different to any other
What do you reckon I could
setting
do?
I've been in.
What do you reckon I could do better?
I think you just need more practice. Like you're obviously nervous.
I just feel like I'm almost like seeking out questions to ask. Like it's like you're almost like hunting like a hyena.
But really, your role was to listen.
Yeah.
And then because it was like only a 10-minute thing, so you're never gonna get to a point where you're suggesting anything or putting anything in place. You're really only hearing my concerns. And so I feel like you did that.
Did I actively sort of listen? Like, did I?
Yeah, I felt like you actively listened. I felt like I was being heard, and you asked questions about things that I had said, so it made me feel like you had listened and were reflecting that back to me in your questions.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It was good.
Good. 5 minutes is a long time to film on this, but hey, like, it's only been 2 minutes, and I'm like, it's kind of broken it down already.
What else would you like to know about how you went?
Did you feel like when I introduced myself and stuff, do you feel like I was reasonably thorough, or did my nerves kind of come across?
A bit nervous.
Yeah.
Like you could have been more thorough with your explanation.
Yeah.
Like perhaps
Definitely.
because you didn't know at that point what my mental health status was. Maybe you could have included something about like if this feels, this is confidential up until this point. I don't know if you guys covered that in class, but generally that's something that I feel is covered in a social work setting. Like it's confidential, but in the event of you discussing harming yourself or whatever,
I should have actually.
Then
that's something I can write about.
How do you feel that you went?
I feel like maybe the spiel at the start wasn't enough, but I feel like I did sort of take in key things that you said and sort of regurgitated them back in questions, sort of investigating parts of like keywords that you had said. But I feel like maybe my nerves did come across a little bit more than I anticipated, because it is quite a nerve-wracking thing.
Probably could have been more specific about asking. Been more specific about asking me whether, you asked if my workplace was supportive, and you asked if I had any other support, but you didn't specifically ask whether I had family nearby or.
Well, you kind of explained that, so I don't want to ask that again. I should have sort of been like, is there any other family? That you lean on sometimes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's work to be done, definitely, but that's the whole point of this, I guess. Cool. I think that's enough.